Hello and welcome from my side. This is Expo 2022, the Friday afternoon session of packaging and components with our partner, ITL. I'm really happy to be hosting this session today, making sure that we have a great time for the next 1 hour that we spent together. Let me just move on to the first slide and introduce you to the theme of the session. Today, we're talking about packaging and components. Sourcing sustainable packaging and components can be achievable. Quick win in the pursuit or genuine sustainability, which is the heart of our common objective. But the question is, where do we start? In this session, we introduce you to an overview of solutions. This session is brought to you in a partnership with ITL Group. The mission of ITL is to create innovative, intelligent, and sustainable ways to connect brands with consumers. And in just about a second, we're going to hear from two amazing people at ITL a little bit more about what they do and why they do what they do. But before we go into that, I want to give a couple of minutes to our founder, Tamsin Lejeune, who's going to introduce us to the concept of Co. If you've never been on Co, if you've never heard of Co, make sure you give her a quick listen to see what we have in stock.
Welcome, everybody. Great to be in this session and great to have see our common objective network grow, so that we're a network committed to doing fashion better, over 50,000 members. And I just wanted to take a few minutes to tell you about a couple of the new things we're doing and make sure that you can make the most of this session and the partners and suppliers that we're showcasing here. So Common Objective has two algorithms that sit behind it. One is a matching algorithm. That means that when you land in your dashboard, you get matched with any of our 300 resources or any of our thousands of business members. And to help you to get that match right, it really makes sense to update your preferences. We've improved the technology here. When you go to your dashboard, you can specify exactly what it is you're looking for. And that means that anytime somebody new joins the platform, or when you go back to visit the site, on your dashboard, you'll be matched with the right people and what you're looking for. Co really aims to try to make it easy for fashion professionals and business owners to find the most sustainable solution. It's not always the simplest thing to do, and we want to simplify that process. Building our network, so we've built in messaging onto Co. We've had a lot of that happening throughout this session, throughout the Co Expo this year. But you can, we'll post, as Laurent mentioned, we'll be posting links, and you can connect with almost everybody in this meeting. Certainly if they're members of Co, it acts a bit like a LinkedIn, and anybody who is a member of Co can also create a business profile. It's very easy. You can do it in a few minutes, but then you can create a presence for yourself. And the second algorithm that sits behind Co is a weighting algorithm, a sustainability weighting. Every single business on Co has a sustainability ranking. And this is part of our mission and the concept with Co. We want to create a mission to a race to the top, where the more sustainable a business is, the higher its search ranking, the more views it gets and the more customers it gains. Sustainability should be an opportunity, not a cost. So creating our business profile, entering information about your business is the way to get more traction on Co. And as we grow, we have representatives from almost every major brand on Co already. And in some cases, almost 100 members of the team of some of the larger businesses using Co. And finally, just to mention that we do have over 300 resources. That's training, information. This slideshow that we're showing now is on Co, and we'll be able to give you the link directly afterwards. So I look forward to seeing you and connecting with you. You can connect and message me and any of our team on Co if you have anything that you want to know more. Thanks very much, and I'll pass back to our host.
Thank you so much, Tamsin. It's always great to listen to you speak about Common Objective. Great. If you already have a profile on Co, of course, make sure you get connected with everybody, especially the Co team, and with each other. Of course, if you don't have one, I know exactly what you're going to do right after this session. You'll have exactly half an hour before we then join the next session, but that is plenty and enough time to do that. Good. Let me move on to introduce our speakers. As you've already heard, my name is Laurent. I am the head of global partnerships of Common Objective, and I'll be co-hosting this session with my colleague, Andy Shull-Rogers, who is the head of suppliers. Today in this session, we're welcoming Jim and Christopher, the Group Sustainability Officer of ITL, and Simon Phelps, the European Sales and Marketing Director of ITL. Now, these are very nice titles. However, Jimmy and Simon, why don't you both quickly take 1 minute to introduce yourselves?
Sure. Thanks, Laurent. Awesome to be here and to have a chat about this. I'm Jimmy Christopher, the Group Sustainability Officer for ITL. I'm based here in Cape Town at our head of operations, but as a business, we've got a footprint in a few continents. My role is to oversee sustainability from a group perspective. My background is in engineering and climate change, so I like to put quite a focus on the technical side of it. I believe that our sustainability strategy only works if it's done from the ground up. That's where the big differences are made for us as a business. And it's nice to talk about a topic like labels and packaging that I feel can often be overlooked, but there are so many rooms for improvement and for opportunity to make a real change in environmental impact. I'm very much looking forward to the session.
Thanks, Jimmy. Hi, everybody. I'm Simon Phelps. I'm the European Sales and Marketing Director at ITL. I've been here for, 10 years this year, actually, but been in labels and packaging all my life. Lucky me. Not the most exciting person when you go to a party and ask you what you do. People always think about the labels as something that's just happens to be magicked out of the air. But obviously, you guys all know it's something that a lot of work goes into. So I'm responsible for all our sales and marketing to all our European retailers and brands. Wherever we do that business around the world, as Jimmy said, we've got a footprint in most, if not all, of the global manufacturing hotspots. But my team and myself are responsible for all the European brands and retailers, small, large, medium, that are domiciled in Europe.
Amazing, Simon. Happy 10 years anniversary at ITL. I didn't even know about this when we spoke in the earlier few weeks. That is absolutely lovely. You know what, Simon? Because it's your 10th year anniversary at ITL, I'm going to direct the first question to you.
Okay.
And I'm going to be quite blatant about it, as a matter of fact. ITL stands for Intelligent Label Solutions, but what does the intelligent in the name stand for?
It's a great question, Laurent. I mean, actually, I'm going to pick you up on that. ITL was originally International Trimmings and Labels, so we will learn something there. But it doesn't really trip off the tongue. So ITL was always what was the name. And I guess in the old days, we wanted to tell everybody what that meant. So we were ITL Apparel Label Solutions, but then we rebranded the business in 2018. Wanted to make sure that we continued to be relevant for our customers and kind of represented what the industry is all about. So we changed the word apparel to intelligent. I think there's two reasons for that. First of all, it's a bit of a nod to the increasing role that smart labels are playing in the future these days. New technologies such as RFID, NFC, QR codes, things that we're starting to talk more and more about these days, but they have a really powerful opportunity to help impact customers' operations on a day-to-day level. So that was the first thing. And then secondly, and it's more important, I think, for this forum is, I suppose, just our approach to how we try to work with our customers. Quite a lot of the time, it's just about achieving what the customer wants, but a customer doesn't always know exactly what they need. So it's just taking an intelligent approach, really, to being cost effective, to making sure that our products are fit for purpose, and also made and supplied with the minimal impacts on the environment. So just ways and means of doing those things, really.
I like that quite a lot. There is smart labels and there is a smart approach or a smart way of approaching customers and making sure you provide value for them. Smart labels, that yells data to me in many ways, right? You mentioned QR codes before and a couple of other options. There is a lot of data behind. Now, maybe, Jimmy, to you, how does the data in the labeling that you do drive value for your customers?
So, I think our approach to sustainability is very data-driven. Unless you know what your baselines are for environmental impact metrics, like chemicals and water, recycled content, all these things, they're all numbers-based. You need to know where you stand in order to improve. One thing that we've done is, in the last couple of years, we put quite a focus on being able to give data behind the products that we supply. That's more and more relevant now for brands, especially with things like greenwashing being something that obviously is quite a risk for brands. There's new green claims code coming out in the UK as well. So if brands are wanting to make claims about a switch from a virgin polyester label to a 100% recycled one, it's this size, we've done this many units, we can give you the tons of CO2, the water scarcity impacts, the energy saved, equivalent oil barrels, things like that. You need to be able to measure those, otherwise you don't know you're improving, to be honest. I think we'll also touch on intelligent in a bit with a video. But the last point on this, I think, is because we put such a focus on knowing our numbers behind all these things, for a brand that needs to know its indirect things for like carbon footprint, which is a big one and starting to become more and more mandated for the bigger brands as well to report on these things. We can tell you what ours is for these labels, and they can in turn report those. So I think the real value there is being able to understand exactly how much you are reducing your impact, being able to trust the numbers, and then make claims, environmental claims, knowing that your numbers are actually like reputable and come from a known source. We use the HIG MSI, which is the Material Sustainability Index. We're a member of the Sustainable Apparel Coalition, so we have access to this database, and we've built those life cycle numbers in there into our products. So we know exactly the amount of water saved when going from conventional cotton to organic cotton and things like that. Yeah, I'll touch on this one briefly as well. So this is what I mean about us with our internal data. We need to know where we stand. We measure our carbon footprint. We track these types of things at all our facilities. We engage with factory managers quarterly to see our footprint, to see how we're improving and track our progress towards our targets. We have our first official sustainability report coming out towards the end of this month. And in that, we have our public targets for carbon footprint, water, chemicals, energy, recycled content, all these important numbers. And this is what we use to track and report on them.
Interesting. I think we'll have time to watch the video that we prepared in a bit. But one thing that I want to ask you real quick is what you said struck me really very much. And you said you need to know where you stand to know what to improve, right? And sometimes understanding where you stand means that you need to see that there are different, or there are even more externalities to your manufacturing process than the process itself. Right? Sometimes it's different types of things. Have you seen that before? And how do you sort of consult with your customers there?
Yeah, no, I think that's, and this kind of links back to what Simon said about the intelligent approach. When engaging with a customer, I think one of the most important things is to say, why do you want this material? What is your goal for the business? If a customer comes and asks for organic cotton instead of conventional, or like Tencel, or be it whatever material they choose, you need to understand why they're choosing that. Are their goals as a business to try and reduce their indirect carbon footprint, or they're more focused on water? In which case, recycled polyester and organic cotton mean completely different things. One is better for another option. So, I mean, that's us engaging with the customer, but beyond our own manufacturing, we very much involved in like market research to make sure we know what the new materials are, so that we can recommend them. We're constantly doing trials of new ones. It's especially difficult for a labeling company, because all the new innovative materials that you often see coming out the market are geared towards garments. And they have different yarn sizes and different specs and things like that compared to labels. So we do a huge amount of trials to ensure that these things can work for our applications as well. And then the last point on this is that we've also put quite a big focus on our social sustainability and the data behind that. Again, just because it's social in nature doesn't mean that you can't measure it. We're a member of the UN Global Compact from about 1.5 years ago. And with that, we obviously have to uphold their principles and have committed to some of the sustainable development goals like gender equality, fair and safe workplaces. And those are numbers that we measure as well. And partnering with a customer means that we can share all of these and ensure that the customer completely understands our business and is completely happy that we're doing everything right from the ground to the finished product.
This is so interesting. You really have transformed not just the name ITL, let's say, or rebranded the name ITL, as you said, Simon, before, but you have essentially switched your business model to more of a, how should I say, service model that will enable your customers instead of just delivering a product. Right. Now, I believe we have a quick video that we'd like to show you. And for that, as you can see, Tams is now just guiding us through the process of going onto the ITL platform, or let's say on the platform on Co, where ITL has their business profile. And in here, you can see any type of information. You can see Jimmy right there, where you can connect with him and write him a message, and it's directly going into his inbox, or Simon is there as well. Exactly. Now, this is Jimmy. Sorry to put you on the spot there. This is exactly your profile. Also, by the way, ITL has won a Co award, as you can see, and this, of course, will boost their sustainability ranking a lot. But now I'd say let's quickly look into that video. I think I saw it there, the green one. Yes, exactly that one. Amazing. Thank you.
When our clients provide a brief, they usually provide the label dimensions they want, but don't have the production expertise to know whether that design maximizes raw material utilization. This could mean that they unknowingly pay extra for raw materials, which may end up in landfill. Our award-winning product re-engineering platform, Intelligent, quickly redesigns a customer's label to ensure maximum efficiency and minimization of waste. Such simple dimensional changes result in more sustainable and cost-effective labels, all without compromising on aesthetics and quality. Cost savings generated by Intelligent can either be banked by the customer or reinvested into furthering the sustainable attributes of the product by adopting materials with lower environmental impacts. ITL, your label is your brand. Put it in safe hands.
Your label is your brand, put it in safe hands. This is what we're all about, a common objective, making sure we promote the safest of all hands where you could put your labeling into. Now, Jimmy, before you said that you are currently or about to release your first official sustainability report this month, I believe. Can you dive a little bit deeper in that and sort of touch on how you ensure that you are sustainable as ITL while also enabling your customers to be sustainable?
Yeah, so it'll be our first one, and it's kind of just a bit of a history of where we've come from in sustainability. I joined the business in 2019, so it's a bit of like background of where we've come from, what have we done in the past few years, and where we're going. For us, sustainability is being able to offer sustainable products, obviously, but we also have to be more sustainable ourselves in our current manufacturing processes and ensure that those are as sustainable as possible. There's a few things that you mentioned on that slide there, things like Ecotex, GOTS, GRS, FSC. These certifications can be particularly important for a brand who needs to know that the cotton in a label is actually organic, or the recycled content is this amount. And these types of certifications can definitely provide that level of traceability. We have them at various facilities. Things like FSC as well, which we have at, I think, 12 of our facilities now, or 10, which is hugely important. The FSC logo has now become very, very recognizable. And we've actually committed to a sourcing policy with Canopy where we completely are trying to eliminate endangered forest fibers from our supply chain. FSC is one of the mechanisms we're using to do that. And then more from a technical side, I mean, we're a manufacturing business. So from the ground up, we're looking at digitizing processes, streamlining processes to reduce waste, which is pretty much what the Intelligent process does. Sustainability is very much a science in design. And the more efficient you are with your design, the less material that you use, and the less material you use, the less impact. Our Cape Town factory recently changed their waste management system. They have a few hundred kgs a month of waste of polyester and nylon shredded fabric. All of that now is upcycled into stuffing and furniture, which is great because some of those things previously weren't recyclable. So we're always exploring new types of textile recycling technologies, which is great to know that there's some extra life in these things. Same with the chemical side. One of the ones not mentioned there is something called the ZDHC, which is kind of the forefront of chemical management. It's zero discharge of hazardous chemicals. we've started to implement their management systems and their restricted substances list, again, using technology. We're very much trying to steer away from the analog approach of monitoring sustainability, and hence those dashboard images that you saw earlier. We've built a custom dashboard to measure these things, and I think that's the best way for us to ingrain our sustainability principles into the way the business operates.
Amazing. Now let's quickly use another time to talk a little bit about the future. And I like to ask this question very openly to both you, Jimmy and Simon. A lot of the people in the session today are founders of fashion businesses, of fashion brands, are founders who are essentially looking for thought leadership when it comes about when we talk about the future of labeling. Where do you see the future of labeling going, in more of a digital direction? Where do you see it in a material type of sense? What do you see, or what mega trends do you see on your side?
It's quite exciting, I think, Laurent. I suppose the easy answer to the question for people to, when you look at it from a sustainability perspective, is to say no labeling, right? But I think we've got to always appreciate that labels play a really important part within the supply chain about connecting brands and their consumers, providing messages about the products and what have you. So let's try to make sure that we do that in a smart way, in a digital way. But really, I think labels can be really powerful as enablers. We can make sure that they send messages about transparency, about circularity, authenticity of a product as well. That can't be forgotten. It supports brands and retailers, reducing loss prevention, and also the consumer experience. So I'd like to think that labels can continue to play a really integral part to help solve a lot of these issues and solutions that are at hand, and along with that continue. I think we've just got to be custodians of the future. I think when people talk about labels and packaging, they see paper and yarns and plastic and waste, and so we've really got to help everybody, whether it be the largest retailers in the world or the smallest startups, on that journey. And just to Jimmy's point earlier, about where we've been and the metrics, Intelligent, as the video shows, is a real, very easy and practical way to kind of help you all achieve that, as the people on the call. So if you buy your labels from us, thank you very much, we appreciate it. But if you don't, I think it's the takeaway for you would be to make sure that you ask your label supplier what size are the labels that you're giving me, and is that the most effective size? Because historically we didn't ask that question as label buyers, and label suppliers would just therefore give you what you wanted. I think there's a requirement now for us to be more responsible, and for you to trust us as experts. So if you can go, particularly actually when a lot of our larger global retailers, they were on that journey trying to go from virgin to recycled, but there was a cost associated with it. What we were able to do was start by reducing the cost from their base, and looking at those real small dimensional changes, so that actually we reduced the waste, we improved the environmental footprint, but in addition to that, we actually reduced the cost of your labels. So then when you started to trade up to other stuff, to more sustainable alternatives, then you could afford the cost uplift. And I think that approach is the future. It should be the future from all of us as label suppliers. We've got to make sure that our customers are informed, and we should embrace labels as enablers rather than look at them as things we just cut out of garments when we get them home.
Beautifully said. Jimmy, do you have anything to add after
Yeah, maybe. I mean, you just touched on the material point of view. We're putting quite a lot of focus on that as well. I think our sort of direction is obviously towards bio-based, so renewable. But you need things that can function like existing garments and labels, which are often synthetic based. So looking for bio-based alternatives to polyester. We're very much on that. Looking for things that are biodegradable and compostable under the right conditions, ensuring that our customers know the difference between them, industrial versus home compostable and biodegradable. Because if garments end up in a landfill, the label is going to go with it. So to ensure that we can design them out of things that will have as small as possible impact in that scenario. as well as then trying to leverage a bit of the technology that they can provide, things like RFID in labels for stock accuracy and traceability, even enhancing consumer experiences like a frictionless checkout, things like that as well. I mean, they're a medium through which you can communicate a lot, and a tool, as Simon said, that can be leveraged quite effectively.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Simon. Thank you so much, Jimmy, for taking the time to speak with us today. I thought it was very, very insightful to see your data-driven approach to finding more sustainable labeling solutions. If you have the time, feel free to join our chat. I think there are quite some questions for you in there, or maybe there are even going to be more questions popping up later on. Feel free to type away in there, or if there is a big one, or if there is one that you'd like to speak about at the end of the session, feel free to quickly send me a message and we'll flag that one up. For everybody else, please make sure to get in touch with ITL Group. As you can see, they're amazing partners when it comes to a very, as they say, intelligent approach to your labeling solutions. Good. And with that now, it is my pleasure to hand over to Andy Shaw-Rogers, who is going to introduce some of our exhibitors.
Amazing. Thanks so much, Laurent. We have 6 superb businesses that we're going to hear from now. Now, each of these businesses have 2 minutes to share with you about themselves. And yeah, so it's a challenge, but I know they're up for it. Each and every single one of them can be contacted through the Common Objective platform. If you have questions for them, put them in the chat and connect with them through Co. We'll be putting the links into the chat to their profiles. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Dr. Elizabeth Smith from Aquapack.
Hi everybody, I'm Lizzie. I'm the technical manager at Aquapack, and I'd like to tell you a little bit about the new material we've spent the last few years developing. So Hydropol is a polymeric material based on polyvinyl alcohol, which you'll all know from your dishwasher pots. It's a water-soluble plastic. It's also biodegradable. It's a completely different from the materials that you'll be used to working with, but we're hoping that it offers the industry something different. We know that consumers are looking for new options. They're looking for recyclability, they're looking for biodegradability, they're looking for true end-of-life options. And our material, we think, is an enabling technology for that. So one example, so you're going to hear more about it from Rebecca shortly, of our actual practical applications that she's using it for. The water solubility we find really helps with the ability to separate at the end of life. So for example, if you were to coat our Hydropol onto paper, like we've done here, this is a mailer bag. What you'll get really additional strength. For other industries, you get wonderful things like gas barriers, which the food industry are interested in. But at the end of life, because of the water solubility, Hydropol will dissolve off, release the fibers, and the paper recycling stream can recover those fibers. And then the Hydropol will go into the wastewater stream and be biodegraded. So we're sort of a new material that we're hoping will just give the industry something else to think about and some other materials to have a play around with. You'll also see from the new materials, it's transparent as well. So Rebecca's going to tell you more about these kind of bags, but it offers something that maybe some of the other compostables don't when it comes to the practicalities of fitting into supply chains, scanning barcodes, all of those boring little things that still have to happen. So yeah, shout out if you've got any questions. I'm going to let Rebecca tell you all more details about where to get it from.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And yeah, we'll move straight on to Rebecca now. Rebecca Pickard, founder at Eco Garment Bags.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining today. Lizzie, thanks for doing the initial introduction to the technology that we use. So Eco Garment Bags was founded a couple of years ago. My background is actually in the fashion industry, and I was looking for solutions for my clients who wanted to replace the dreaded plastic poly bag that every single garment coming from the factory is packaged in. So just in garments, there's 100 billion single-use plastic bags that are used per year. So I found what I believe was the best technology for the fashion industry. So I'm also going to show you a bag, just as Lizzie did. As you can see, it's a clear material. It's a very strong material. And the innovative thing about the material is it's not only compostable home and industrially, it also will degrade naturally on land, also in the ocean, and it will dissolve immediately in water. So a lot of fashion brands at the moment are looking for alternatives, and I'm disappointed to see that a lot are choosing recycled garment bags. which to me doesn't really offer any end-of-life solution whatsoever. The other option that's available at the moment is the compostable bags, which is fantastic if your client has actually got access to either home composting or industrial composting. So Eco Garment Bags is really focused on using Aquapak's Hydropole technology to create the product. So we're working with factories in different countries. At the moment, we're producing in the UK, Malaysia, Vietnam, and Korea. And the next factories are going to be in India, Portugal, Italy as well, we're working with. So we deliver the end product to the customer, working closely with the factories. And we supply also small brands from 500 units and a customized version from 3,000 units, and deliver worldwide. So please feel free to ask me more questions. You can find me in my contact details in the profile.
Amazing. Thanks.
2 minutes. Did I do it?
That was 1 minute 58. You smashed
Excellent.
it. Thank you, Rebecca. So next up, we got Better Packaging, and Cayetana, apologies, is going to tell us more about Better Packaging.
Awesome. Thanks, Andy, for the intro. So at Better Packaging Company, what we do is sustainable packaging, but what we actually do is use packaging as a force for good to combat pollution, poverty, climate change. So this is what's really special to me about Better Packaging, that we've got not only approaching packaging as a sustainable packaging, but also like we've got the social impact. We just released our plastic packaging, this way. So we are collecting packaging from waterways, from the beach, and we are paying these people collecting plastic a fair wage to collect this, and then we turn it into packaging that can be recycled again. So what's really amazing is that we turn in pollution into like a commodity. That's pretty powerful. It's circular. It is a solution. We also have like our home compostable range. This is our original product, the dirt bag. And what we like about our ranges is that we can help our customers find the most suitable solution. We don't like to say that one range is better than the other. We like to find the most suitable solution depending on where our customers are based, where the customers are based at the same time. And what else? We are taking an approach on packaging, we're not having enough with being neutral or less worse. We are making things better. We are trying to think what other approaches we can have to like have a social, a positive impact. We have mastered technology to print our packaging into all different designs. So really what we're offering is traditional packaging and now in a sustainable way. That to me is quite powerful and awesome. And then if you've got any questions, I'd love to connect with you guys. You can find our profile on Common Objective.
Brilliant.
Thanks a lot.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. That's excellent. And keep those questions coming into the chat and into the Q&A as well. And everyone speaking can get involved with that and answer those questions. And next up, we've got Eve Mendham from James Tailoring.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. So James Tailoring is a supplier of trims and components. So we focus on elastic, threads, buttons, and nearly everything else that would be considered usually the boring bits of garment manufacturing. The special thing about our business is that we only focus on eco products. So everything has to be certified either to GOT standard is obviously the ideal, followed by Oecotex, made in green, or tested standard 100. So that's our speciality really. We help small and new designers find new products that will suit their ranges best. So we carry everything in our warehouse and we'll work with new designers to find the best sustainable solutions, whether that's biodegradable threads or recycled polyester threads. We really look at garments that they're designing, what the function will be, and what the best sustainable solution is for the range. We work with a lot of high-end designers at the moment, trying to switch them from polyester products onto something like Carozzo or Coda-like products. But yeah, our focus is getting everything to a biodegradable place.
Amazing. Thank you very much. That doesn't sound at all boring to me. Those sound like fantastic products. Awesome. Next up, we've got Repack, and Johnny is here to tell us all about Repack.
Hi, Jon Helgren from Repack. We have basically modeled the returnable bottle system into e-commerce, because at least in Finland, 98% of any bottles or cans are returned. And when we feel that going to the source of packaging trash is the solution. So we provide reusable packaging services, both bags and boxes. And what's kind of common to them is, like for this bag, is that everything we design flat folds into letter size when empty. So you can drop any Repack from anywhere in the world just into your local post box, and it comes back to us in different facilities, and we take it back to reuse. So providing reusable packaging services, we work with over 200, 300 clothing brands and retailers, both in Europe and the US. And we mainly have two services. One is a reuse service, where we replace single-use packaging with online retailers. So when you personally, if you go and shop online, you can get your order delivered in returnable packaging, and all the consumer has to do is put it into a post box. And we take care of it in putting it back into use for other cycles. And then another segment that's growing quite quickly recently is that we lease packaging for example, for rental companies, for take-back models. Click and collect is somewhere where reusable packaging makes a lot of sense, because you have the logistics in place and no single use is really beneficial. And why brands work with us is that we can reduce cost of packaging with reusables, but mainly it's for sustainability reasons, so reducing trash and CO2. And of course, what's most important in e-commerce is that consumers absolutely love the experience of not having to think about, what do I do with this packaging? Where does it go? How do I get rid of it? Is it recycled? Is it landfilled or whatever? You just return it to be reused. That's it. Thank you.
Superb. Thank you so much. That's great. And finally, we have Trofino, Ignacio Meyer from Trofino, Executive President there. Great to see you.
Well, hello, everyone. Thank you, Andy. My name is Ignacio Maya. Our company, Trofino, is based in Ecuador. We export Carozzo blanks for buttons since 1988. Carozzo is the most social and environmental accessory you can think of. What is Carozzo? Carozzo is the nut of a palm tree that grows wild in the tropical forests of Ecuador. It's collected by thousands of community members as a livelihood, and then processed by hand by hundreds of artisans. There are three main points I would like to highlight on Carozzo. It's an alternative to plastic buttons. Its use helps protect tropical forests by allowing forest inhabitants to live on what forests produce. And it's a social product. Let me quickly tell you a few characteristics of Carozzo buttons. They are 100% natural, sustainable, renewable. They are a planet-friendly product, durable and resistant, contributing to circularity, elegant and versatile, combine design and craftsmanship. It's vegan product, no animal cruelty, can be used in its natural white color or dyed to any color, say dyed to match. In its use contributes to lowering CO2 emissions, therefore the carbon footprint of the fashion industry. So here comes the question. Can you name any other button as eco-friendly and social as this? Finally tell you that we created the Forever Long Foundation to protect tropical forests where Corozo grows wild, working together with communities and national and international researchers. Here we can see this is the big Corozo fruit, really big, that grows wild in the tropical forests of Ecuador. Inside the big fruit, we get the Corozo nut, many Corozo nuts. Then the Corozo nut is sliced by hundreds of artisans like this, and from the slice, we get the blank. This is the product that we export from Ecuador to dozens of button manufacturers around the world who make the finished button, as you can see in the photo. So depending on when your garments are manufactured, we can put you in touch with the button manufacturers in more than 15 countries. So you can start using Corozo buttons and add a beautiful story of sustainability to your brand. So that's all, and thank you very much.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. That's fantastic. And I'd love to see that nut there as well. Brilliant demonstration. Thank you. We are going to spend a couple of minutes looking at a tool we have on Common Objective, which I think will be of help to people who are looking to source. So obviously many of you in this room are looking for suppliers who can supply specific things. As well as Expo, we have this tool which is on our site all the time. And so the suppliers in the room can use this as well to respond to specific projects that are posted. It's a new functionality that we recently launched. So it's the idea is simple. As a brand, you can start a project. You can choose, it could be one style, it could be multiple styles, it could be fabric, it could be accessories. And you have these two routes you can go down. So we'll just show the beginning of the demo to you. Going to choose apparel here. And crucially, you can control to a degree what information is released publicly and what's hidden. So right at the outset, you get to choose whether you display your business name publicly or whether you want to hide that. If you display it, then you're likely to get more suppliers respond to you, but you can hide it if you would like. And then there's just a few very simple questions you answer, such as how long you've been operating. And then there's the chance to add as many styles as you want. So to add a style, you put in the name and the description, and then the number of colorways and so on. Further along the process, there's the opportunity to say what sustainability credentials you would like to that are required. So that's certifications, and it's also what the supplier prioritizes in terms of social and environmental concerns. So the whole process takes about 5 minutes. I mean, what we're showing you now is not taking that long, but if you did it properly, it would take about 5 minutes. And at the end of which, there's the opportunity to upload image files and tech packs. That's something that is automatically hidden. And so when a supplier then gets in touch with you, they ask for full access, and you can check out their business profile. And if you think they could be a good fit for you, then you can give them full access, which includes, this is the file section here, which includes your tech packs if you've uploaded them. So once you've published your project, it appears on a page, which we'll look at very briefly now, so suppliers can see what the page that you'll be browsing looks at. This is it. This is the top two, a couple of projects that were posted, I believe, yesterday. And you can see suppliers, you can see some limited information. And then if you would like to see the full information, if you think this is a good fit, then you can select, you can click request full access. And if you're granted full access, you're able to submit a proposal, which is super quick to do because it pulls information from your business profile. So that's co-create. You can make the most of that. You can put in pretty much anything you require into that. It's not prescriptive, so there are you can add whatever requirements you have. It's designed so it's like an introduction tool between brands and suppliers. So this is the messaging on Co. And just to very briefly explain about the three, here we get to see all the messages that Tamsin sent. And then we have there are three aspects to Co, really. We've just seen create, which is the third. The first here is learn. So learning, we have a lot of content. Some of the links in the chat from my colleagues are linking to content that we have on Co. There's a packaging hub here, which links to articles and businesses around packaging. There's a labels and components hub that ITL are a partner on. And again, the same thing with that. You can get some great resources there. As well as that content, we also have co-training, which is this link here, co-training credits, which are bite-sized email training series over 5 or 6 weeks, and those drop into your inbox. And so these co-training credits are actually part of one of our pro packages, which I'll explain, I'll touch on in just a second. So that's learn. We've looked at learn and create, and the final thing is connect. So you can connect with individuals and you can connect with businesses. And the businesses are ranked based on the sustainability score. So if you don't yet have a business profile, then you can add one. And these suppliers all have business profiles, which is how you can connect with them. Yeah, you can search through them and find one that you're looking for. So that's the three kind of aspects of Co, I guess, if you like. And we'll just head to the upgrade, the pricing page. There's free membership plans, and then there's a few paid plans. The one for individuals is called Associate, and that gives you access to pro content. So that's all of the articles on Co. Pro events like the masterclasses. So I know some people in the room were at the pro masterclasses over the last couple of days, which are superb. Anyone on associate plan or above could access those. And then there's 3 business plans. Pioneer, which gives you access to Co-Create, which we just looked at, as well as a premium business profile. And then maybe Tamsin, you'd like to jump in and just mention team and leader briefly?
Yeah, sure. And I just wanted to say that our associate members and our pro business members and partners make everything that we do possible. Our goal, we're an impact business, and our goal is to transform standards in the industry. And that is only possible if we can encourage everybody who operates in the industry onto Co. That will give the ranking on Co teeth. It will mean that businesses that are not operating sustainably will be effectively invisible. And those that are will benefit from many more connections. So every time you go on to Co, every time you send a message, every time you promote your profile, or you pursue a training program, you're furthering our ability to engage more of the industry. And so we really appreciate the amount of engagement that's been on Co this week. So just to mention something around our partnership, because it's come up in the early part of this session. Fantastic that ITL is part of the UN Global Compact. I think the UN Global Compact and the UN FCC Charter for Fashion Industry Charter for Climate Action is fundamental for our ability as an industry to achieve change. And this year, we have a big focus on climate, and we are working in liaison with the UNFCCC to create content that will be available to all of our members. We can do that through our partners, but we also do it through our brands. So we have a leader package through which we will support businesses to achieve those climate charter standards. And if you have a team, we can offer you discounts for the entire team. We've got a lot of businesses with a lot of members on Co, and it makes all the difference if you become part of our pro community. Just to finish on, if you are a college or an organization, collaboration is a core value for Co. If you're doing things that you need and want to get out that can support and catalyze better practice across our 50,000 members, we want to work with you. There's no point in us reinventing the wheel. We're interested in collaborating on Co. We have a whole lot of partnerships in the Learn section which we you can see under hubs, where we allow our members to, we work in partnership with other organizations to get the product out there and to support our members in the end to operate in a more sustainable way. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Tamsin. Thank you so much, Andy, for the quick roundup. Regarding Co-Create, please make sure you go check it out, no matter if you're a brand, a buyer, or if you're a supplier, a manufacturer. The last couple of days, we've had quite some projects being posted. I would really hate for you to miss out on those opportunities. In the end, this is going to be, or this is what we're working towards, the gold standard to sourcing truly sustainably. Amazing. Now, before we go into all the rest of the day, I just quickly want to open up the floor and see if there are any unanswered questions. If there are anybody who'd like to raise their hand, quickly ask a question to either Simon or Jimmy, ask a general question, no matter what we want to ask, feel free to speak. Is there anything where you feel like, Jimmy, Simon, where you feel like, yeah, I want to dive into this for the last 2 minutes?
Oh, there was just the one about the what was it, the biodegrading in landfills and the methane, which is often quite a thing that's discussed. I mean, so methane is about 28 times more potent than CO2. So it's much worse from a climate change perspective. So you obviously don't want things biodegrading, making methane, but there's a difference between the anaerobic and the aerobic biodegrading, which means air and no air. And the one makes a lot of methane and the other one makes a lot of CO2. So the one is considerably worse than the other. So in the ones that are anaerobic, which is a landfill with no air, if it's biodegrading and the methane is being captured, it can be used for energy generation, which is actually quite a nice benefit of it. For the open things like composting, so if you have your own compost heap, that'll be an aerobic composting, and not as much methane will be created in that. So that composting itself isn't something bad because of that small amount of methane. Yeah, just an interesting thing I thought of.
Jimmy, thank you so much. Is there anybody else who wants to ask a follow-up question or even add to what Jimmy just said?
There's one there about labeling and blockchain. So yeah, that there is, and it's definitely started to come onto the radar a lot more because of the need for transparency and traceability and secure traceability. Being able, you could use blockchain for taking your ledger of each of your steps of a supply chain and knowing that every step that has been sort of captured there is authentic and secure. It would need to work slightly differently to the way blockchain is used in cryptos and things like that. I know there's some big consumer brands that are doing pilots at the moment of this. It's something we've looked into as well. But I do think that you'll start to see more and more of it as we delve a bit deeper into making these supply chains more efficient, because especially the textile supply chains are some of the most complex and sort of convoluted in the world. And blockchain is definitely a tool that can be used to help with that.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Jimmy. In that case, let me quickly walk you through the rest of the day just to give you a bit of a taste of what you missed if you already log off now. In the next couple of hours, we're going to have a jewelry and accessories session right at 4 p.m. GMT. And then at 5:30, the, as I like to call it, explosive, energetic Latin American sourcing showcase hosted by our very own Mariel Humpa. It's been an absolute pleasure for me to host this session today. It's been an absolute pleasure listening to all the thought leaders in the space here. Please make sure to visit our Co-Expo hub. Go back into day 1 and day 2, kind of day 2 areas, just so you can check out the old, or let's say the past sessions that are there for you to look at, and the slides that you see are there for you to click through as well. And then, of course, if you want to find out more about our partners, they will be hosted or directly linked on these sites as well. Good. And with that, I believe it is time for me to close this session. I'm actually going to close the session with something very beautiful that Simon earlier said. No matter who you work with, or no matter what you do, the only way we can push sustainability as the standard practice in fashion is by asking the right questions. And how do you get to ask the right questions? You get to communicate, you get to collaborate, and above all, you get to be on common objective. So thank you very much for joining the session today. Huge thanks to ITL Group. Again, Jimmy and Simon, it's been absolutely lovely hosting you. Everybody else who's been in the session, thank you so much. Andy, as always, a pleasure co-hosting with you. And Tamsin, thank you for all your great inputs. And then, of course, the excellent sharing of her screen, as you can see. Have a great afternoon, everybody. Enjoy your weekend. And I hope to see you again in half an hour when we do jewelry session. Thank you so much.
Laurent.
Thanks, Laurent.
Cheers, guys.
Thank you.
Good weekend.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.